completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, it's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, it's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, it's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, it's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, it's a brand new show. Completely cartoony,
It's completely cartoony. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome once again, everyone, to another episode of your favorite cartoon anime podcast. This is completely cartoony. I am joined today by a host of yet another cartoon podcast, subpar, maybe your fourth or fifth favorite cartoon podcast. Totally tunular, James Boylan today. We're going to try and get him some listeners.
We're 200 episodes deep.
Well, we're pushing a good 3 over here, so it's quality over quantity.
Yeah, what's up? I mean, by the time you listen to this, we're like a couple of days out from Steeler Fest.
Dude, this is the big reason why I had you on today, James. We need to talk and drum up some numbers for Steeler Fest. We want to get the whole...
You see that?
Oh my God!
So that portrait of payback buttons. It's flipped, when you watch it on camera, but I love it.
Put me back like one of those for my jean jacket, sir. Please. I'm gonna come to you with cash in hand. Like literally, I want my The night I show up, I want my T-shirt. I want my button.
Luckily, I got a good deal on these buttons, so for every T-shirt, you will get a button.
Oh my God! Put my shit back now. No. So how are we looking for Steeler Fest? What's the word?
Pretty good. We have everything set. I'm getting something today that I haven't announced yet, solely because I don't know if it'll be ready in time. But I have half of it today. I'm picking up. But other than that, it's you got everything. Big Dan setting out his sauce. I got a pile of T-shirts behind me. I got a banner. Steelers been rehearsing. I know they're doing another band rehearsal. I think we're near in town.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go. We have to go. Can I go to rehearsal?
If we can all fit. I don't know how big this. I mean, you've been to that space before.
We can fit. I'll sit up behind Reeves, behind the drummer. You know what I mean? I'll be that little groupie girl sitting in the corner.
And I think it's going to be the mega rehearsal, the full Knights and Steelers service with Lucky and Jimmy too.
Oh fuck! Okay, done. I'm so stoked. You have no idea. I am beyond stoked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. Pretty nervous. I mean, it's a weird thing when I have everything set, because then I'm like, okay, what am I forgetting? It doesn't Reeves was over yesterday. We went through some shit. It doesn't seem like I'm forgetting anything, but I still feel like I'm forgetting something.
So it's one of those things, though. It's sorry, I had to get coffee. If people can't tell, we record completely cartoony in the daylight. Clearly, your camera is having some issues with it.
Yeah,
mine, the natural sun. This is why I like to do it during the day. The sunlight, it filters in and it highlights my natural beauty here on camera, is what it does. So To anybody wondering what's going on with James, I do apologize for that. Completely cartoony. We hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Look, I'm all about audio. I don't give a shit about my camera. I had like conversation once when I was on Swine Lake because there's this guy Jack who's a sound guy on it, and they were talking about the podcast and stuff. And it was actually Brooks mentioned. He was like, "Yeah, you guys sound great, but it's like your camera is like, not the greatest." And I was like, "Because I don't give a fuck. I will record on a 360p camera. My audio setup is good, and that's all I give a shit about."
So, but back to the whole notion of like what it is that you forgot. Like I go through that too. Like I am. What's the word I'm looking for, James? Like I'm very detail oriented to a degree, but I'm also like ridiculously forgetful.
Yeah,
in
the
every
same way. Yeah.
It's,
So I think we got everything.
well, bro, I've had it happen this way before, where it's been like what do you call it? I fucking I'll plan, I'll get everything ready, I'll have all of the pieces, and then like day of, I end up fucking off and leaving something at the house. Like golf
Yeah.
balls, for instance, for ping
Yeah,
pong.
I mean, it's like when we did our first. So it's like when you actually look at this button, right? So these are actually photos from Steeler that we did, couple like about right before we shot Payback. I wanted to do like a costume, like they do in superhero movies, or they do like the costume test photo shoot, whatever.
Yeah.
So I got Steeler's white tie on the day. I fucking forgot the white tie, and Steeler forgot his suit jacket. We took the photos anyway, and they look amazing. But yeah, it's just the dumbest thing. I was like, can't believe I forgot the fucking tie of all things.
The reason for it, basically.
Yeah.
The entire reason for it. But you know what? That's kind of perfect though. Like it wouldn't look the way it looks now. It wouldn't be as awesome as it is had all that happened. You can't think it would be more awesome.
I mean, these photos did come out great, so they're all over now. I have them on T-shirts and buttons.
Here's what I can't wait for. Fast forward like 2 or 3 years from now, wander in the city one day, and there's some random who came into Steeler Fest in his Dwayne Steeler 2025 Steeler Fest T-shirt. How great will that be?
Without a cause. That'd be amazing
to see one out in the wild in New York at random.
And that's all I want. That's the other thing. I'm also just nervous because it's a Monday, so to get people out there is hard on a Monday. Other normal people have lives, unlike us.
Well, jobs, and they want to go. They want to go home and they want to rest, and they want to. You know what I mean? They're not necessarily looking to get out on a Monday.
But it will be the most metal Monday of your life.
I can guarantee you this will be more metal than you can shake a fucking stick at. Like I know that. But other than Steeler Fest prep, man, what else is going on up in the city?
Well, as you see, we are recording here, pre-recorded daylight, is because I'm going to be in Canada. I'm going to Canada tomorrow. First time ever.
Now remind us again. I know you mentioned it on your show, that other show, when I appeared on that last. But why are you going to Canada? What's going on?
Well, it's Sum 41's final show ever. And you know me, no one loves Sum 41 more than I do, except for my two friends that I've dragged with me across to Canada. And I'm stoked. I mean, they're playing at some stadium. I don't remember how to pronounce the stadium name, but it's a full stadium. Here's the shitty part that I just found out, that there's no coat check in the stadium. Now, we have a hotel. It's about a 10-minute walk, so it's pretty close. But there's no coat check. In Canada right now, let me look up how cold is it in Toronto right now?
So are you going to be moshing in your parka? That's what you're telling me?
I think what I'm going to do, right now it's 25 degrees. And oh, fuck. And then Thursday, it's going to be, looks like light snowy to 32 to 16 degrees. So, like, our plan was to just not bring a jacket
and just suffer
for like those 10 minutes we get. Otherwise, I'm stuck with a jacket. in a GA floor for fucking 4 hours. I feel like the 10-minute suffering will be fine.
You're gonna turn around and have a fucking like you're gonna get sick, James, being out in the cold like that. And then going and getting all sweaty in a pit. That's not gonna be good for you.
Well, I'll buy some merch too, get some extra layers on the way out.
Buy a long sleeve for your way out the door.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm not gonna say I haven't done that before.
Like, they should have a coat check. Like, I don't get why this stadium that's supposed to be this grand, awesome stadium in Toronto doesn't have a fucking coat check.
Bro, 40,000 people coat check. Come on. I don't want to keep up with that. Fuck them people in their jackets. You bring it in, you keep up with it. I understand that entirely.
Well, I hate it. But yeah.
Well, I hate it.
I mean, it's so cold up there. We were going to check out Niagara Falls, and it's kind of on the way, but it's literally frozen.
Sometimes I'm happy I live in the South. We had some freaky like snow shit in the last couple of weeks.
Pretty freezing this year. I mean, I saw New Orleans was snowing. Reeves told me Atlanta was snowing.
Can you imagine?
I heard Florida was cold. Even my grandmother was like, "It's so cold in Florida."
New Orleans, though, in the snow, that's not over 10 inches.
Yeah,
over 10 inches. Like New Orleans snow could be a porn star. Well, good. That's going to be exciting, man. It's sad though to see like the end of an era, but at the same time, like, I mean, it's pretty cool to say you were at their last show.
Know. And I've been thinking about it literally all year because they announced it a year ago, and I was like, hope I can make it. Hope I can get there. And I didn't have a passport for a while, so I was like, hope I can get my passport in time. And then I got it, and then we were like, guns.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then I got Romano drunk, and I was like, you want to go to Sum 41? And then he was like, okay. And then I just bought. I also spent like way too much money. Like, so here's what happened to me when I didn't realize that.
What is a ticket for Sum 41's last show?
Well, they're sold out, so I had to get a reselling ticket. And the cheapest, what I thought was the cheapest. So here's the thing: I didn't realize that Canadian money is like it's more money when you look at it, but it's like the American dollars, it's cheaper. I didn't realize that on Ticketmaster. So first I pull it up and it said like 250 Canadian dollars. And I was like, holy fuck, that's way too expensive. So then I'm like going through all these different channels. I find StubHub, it was like 160. And I was like, beautiful. Buy all of it, get the tickets. Then fucking so besides the normal fees that you get when you get a ticket, then StubHub charged me another $200.
What?
Fees. And I was like, what the fuck? But I was like, whatever, it's still cheaper than the one I'm paying on Ticketmaster. And then literally as I pressed buy, Romalo's like, oh, that's Canadian money. And I was like, what? And then they're like, I could have fucking saved so much more money just going through. But, this was also, like I said, 6 beers and 4 shots deep impulse buy.
I love you, James. That's the greatest thing in the world. I wish I had it like that. So, did I tell you the one thing that me and Jen got?
No.
Kind of similar. So back in the day, we used to go follow the Gourds around a lot, right? Gourds' rise to popularity was they did a cover of Gin and Juice, and back in the LimeWire days, you could find it, but it was always attributed to fish. So if you saw it would be like it would say Gin and Juice country version fish. It's always been the Gourds. It's always been the Gourds.
Yeah, LimeWire had that same thing with Sum 41. They had this one song that wasn't theirs, but always was listed
as them.
Yeah.
Well, so that's how the Gourds got big, but I'd been a fan since then. I knew it wasn't fish doing it. So I went on a search to find out who it was. Anyway, I'd never seen him. I turned Jen on to him, and then in 2000 and maybe 2008 or 2010, somewhere in there, No, closer to 2008. Me and Jen would start going to these Gorge shows, and they were the greatest. So we would follow them from Portland. We would hit like the Eugene show. We would go up if they played Tacoma, we'd go to that. We'd hit Seattle. Fuck. On their last tour, we followed them for 5 days in the Pacific Northwest into Montana. Into Montana. It was crazy. But I love them. I love them. So I'm still a part of some Gourds like fan groups, right? And I follow the individual musicians, all of this stuff. I see on Facebook right at Christmas, they're reuniting for one show only.
Oh, wow.
One show only. So I try to get tickets, obviously can't. They announce a second day. I try to get tickets. I can't. Fucking Jen goes back to their defunct website, signs up for the newsletter. They release another batch of tickets, and me and Jen get tickets to the Saturday show.
Wow. Where's it at?
It is in Austin, Texas.
Oh, sick.
So we're headed down to Texas in April to go and see the Gourds.
Nice.
And
I would want to go to Austin.
James, it's the first time in 12 years that since we've seen them last.
Yeah.
Like, we're in their documentary DVD. Like, you see me and Jen in the crowd, like right at the beginning of it. It's nuts. Like, I love the Gourds. So Mazel, good for you. Enjoy it. It'll be a wonderful time.
And I hope in 12 years I have the same thing, you know. Go track some 41 down in Austin.
Or yeah, right. Like they're playing some ramshackle like shit heel dive bar they used to play back 1,000 years ago. Because that's what these guys are doing, and it's gonna be fucking nuts.
And I'm excited. I mean, I've never been to. Well, I guess I have. I never been to like a final show. Like I went to. It's funny that I say it because it actually wasn't even their final tour. I went to the Motley Crue final tour in like 2015, which like never like they just kept playing after that. Yeah,
dude. Like the final tour bullshit that lasts for like 10 years, it can go fuck itself. Yeah. Like I hate to put it this way, but I hope Sum 41's last show is their last show for at least a decade.
I mean, that's what they're saying. They're like very much like never we're done.
If in 2 years they come back for a reunion or this is some sort of cash grab, you'll know your little punk rock buddies have flipped, James.
Yeah.
they've turned tail to the man. But anyway,
still excited. I've never been to a final show, so we'll see how epic and what they pull out of their hat for all this. Like, you ever see videos of the NoFX final show? It's pretty epic. I'm not even the biggest NoFX fan, but like their final show is like pretty insane.
I haven't seen their final show, but like part of that has got to be like crowd energy and fucking, you know what I mean?
Like, they like brought out on their final song. First, they played a song that they wrote only for the show. They did a cover of My Way, but like a version, like a NoFX. Like they changed the lyrics and stuff. So they only played it there. They never planned to release it ever. And then the final song, they got all these guitars, like at least like 30 guitarists from all these different bands. Even the Sum 41 guitarist was on there, like Pennywise, all of them just like were just like on stage. It was like 30 people playing this like last song together. And then when it wrapped, all the band just started destroying all their instruments. Starts like breaking everything, and they just start smashing guitars and confetti's flying everywhere. All right, yeah, well, you know, that's me, man.
That's fascinating, James.
That's this week, man. You know, between Canada tomorrow for Sum 41, then it's going right into pretty much the Rumble. You come in on the 1st, which is the Rumble. Then we got Steeler Fest, and then my birthday. So it's like pretty intense, crazy, kind of fun week coming up.
It's going to be nuts, dude. It's going to be absolutely fucking nuts. Like a really good time. Well, down here, shit's been just basically sort of par for the course, man.
But like, I mean, recording, besides me going to Canada for Sum 41, I know we're pre-recording because you get to see some midgets fights tonight.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Like that is the highlight, the only exciting thing that is happening down here in Tennessee. I'm headed out with our sponsor on a date. We're we're gonna go see Extreme Midget Wrestling tonight.
Nice. Maybe some tables, some chairs.
Oh my God. If they bring out little tables and little chairs, I'm going to be so excited. You don't even know. But I will take tons of pictures. I will send some video. Maybe we can supplement this episode of Completely Cartoony with some EMW. Some
I'll
EMW.
put it in the middle where you had to pause to go answer a text message.
In the fantasy shed. Hey, listen, man, you know how things go when you move and you shake, right? Like that's the whole thing. Sometimes you got to get back to people when you got to get back to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like basically this week's been very very sort of mellow around here. It's been kind of empty with things going on, which, you know, good, bad, or indifferent. My week starts tonight, basically.
Yeah.
So it's the EM Dub with Big Dan. Tomorrow I'm doing a bunch of running around for my pops. We're getting a property ready to sell. And then Thursday I am just I'm dinking off a lot, which is very nice. Probably packing on Thursday because Friday night Jen wants to go out. We're going to do a little date night before I leave early Saturday morning to come to the city.
When do you get in?
Saturday,
But, like,
midday.
What time?
By the time I get to your house, so little Jimmy Adamson is supposed to pick me up from the airport. So we'll see if that's real or not. If not, I think I get in around noon, so I should be to your place like 3 at the latest.
Sick.
Somewhere in there.
Hell yeah.
Are you guys still going to be around then? Or are you going to be out?
Around. I mean, I come
Okay.
back Friday, so like late Friday probably, but I'll be there.
Word. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Like, I can't wait. In your poor little tiny fucking apartment to have 57 million people in it.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty smell.
I mean, basically, by the time everybody leaves and it's just you and Connor and roommate Will, that whole place, you guys will be like the ghost in the shell.
Ah, look at that transition. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell, 1995.
19 what?
1995.
95's Ghost in the Shell. All right. So here's the thing. I've never watched this.
Neither
I've
have
never
I.
watched this.
I just know about it because people, suck his dick all the time.
Well, and rightfully so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So long and the short of it is, this movie just gets me hard to be chased by naked female assassin cyborgs. I mean, this is a big win for me, like all day long. Like,
I mean, it's not too far from the future. I mean, the
it
way
is
it's
the
going.
future. It's right now, bro.
Yeah.
Like, look, all they have to do is put a little bit of this technology inside of a real doll, and it's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We already have naked robot sex dolls, and we have AI. It just got to
Marry the two.
Yeah.
It's done. It's completely over. Like, and that's the weird thing. So you see this in like 95, and we're like, what, 30 years later now,
Yeah.
right? And this future is growing increasingly close to us. Like we're minutes away from this.
Yeah,
Like
it takes place in 2029, so
yeah,
pretty close to that date.
we're minutes away from this being a reality. The big thing is though is like so I dig where this goes overall. Basically, like I'm a little like it's a very straightforwardish sort of story. They're looking for somebody who has been hacking into things, that has access to a similar type of tech, but is further advanced in the fact that it is now become sentient on its own. It can rise up and create its own consciousness. Okay. So this whole notion, this whole fucking idea of like self-aware AI is terrifying. Or the idea that AI can create its own consciousness. Because like one of the things that you keep hearing about now, particularly like on Twitter and in your wonderful conspiracy circles, or in your like super heady esoteric sort of whatever, is the idea that we are in a simulation, that this is simulation, and that we are all AI.
Like the Matrix.
Exactly. So like the other thing, like, how do you feel overall? Do you take any comfort in the notion, or is it terrifying to you to think that we could be in a simulation?
I don't think we're in a simulation, honestly. I don't really buy into that, but I do find AI both intriguing and terrifying. Like, I actually really like a lot of AI tools that are coming out. I think there's a lot, like, it's, for me, it's like any other innovation in life where it should be a thing that makes our lives easier and whatever our jobs easier. I hate the idea that AI then just like replaces a person, you know? And when I look at like shit like this movie, or even like The Matrix, or even like something like Skynet, it feels more like a reality of like, oh, this computer could be this conscious thing that could just take over and destroy everything. I mean, one virus could literally wipe out a whole country, the computer virus.
No, and I totally get that. But what I'm asking you is, would you be comforted
if I was in a simulation?
To know that we are in a simulation? What, like, how do you feel if you were to find out tomorrow that we are in a simulation? How would you feel?
Well, if it's like The Matrix, I would stay in the simulation. I'd rather just live in my bliss and not be in this like hellscape, you know, computer world. Like, fine, you want to use me as some like farming, whatever, as long as.
So you don't want to know if you're in a simulation. You do not want to know. Yeah. You want live
my life, unless it's like the world is like different. Like, if it's like. Yeah, you know that show Severance that came out? It's on Apple.
Yes.
So if it's like that, where it's like I have another consciousness that's living a different life, and then I'd find out, then I think I'd be more freaked out and be like, I need to get out there. But if it's more like a Matrix situation where the world is like a hellscape, and I get to live in a bliss out here, then I'd rather just live here.
Got it. Yeah. So. For me, I would want to know. I wouldn't necessarily want to leave the simulation, but I would want the knowledge that I'm in a simulation. Because then all of a sudden, everything ceases to matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be worse then? Because then it's like, well, what nothing I do matters. You get too aware of your consciousness and state.
No, I think that's great. This doesn't matter because it's not real. I'm not real. These other things are not real. None of this is real. It doesn't matter. The problem is that we know that everything is real, and then our decisions have weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like our efforts have a real weight attached to them.
Yeah, if you fuck up, you can really just be like, all right, just reset.
Yeah.
Just reset that computer about a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, dude. It's heady, and this whole thing gets
this movie's pretty heady. It's like I thought it was like, it is actiony, but I thought it'd be more action forward, like, because Akira is pretty heavy, but it's also very action forward. And I thought like this movie would be the same, but to actually feel like there's not very action forward at all. Besides, like some stuff like
it. And you know what? At an hour 22, like this moves along at a clip.
Yeah.
Like even though it's not even though it's not like super fast paced or anything, it goes quickly. The way the story is paced, the way the things come out, it before I knew it, it was over. Um, I I really enjoy, like, there's this sort of noir sort of feel to
Yeah.
this whole thing, right? Like dirty, grimy
It has
streets.
like a Blade Runner-ness to it.
Very much so. Very, very much so. Like a futuristic-y sort of noir. Like it's good. It's
Yeah.
really, really good. The art design there, it does one of my favorite anime effects where it's like you've got something moving in the deep background, you have a slight move of something going the opposite direction in the midground, and then you have right up here in the foreground like somebody's head, and then they just like make a frown. Like I love that level of
That's like, yeah,
motion.
it's like the opening shot where it's like we're at the above the city and then you like pan down and then right into the girl who's like sitting above all the buildings.
Dude, it is it, the level of artistry that goes into a lot of this anime, particularly these like sort of cornerstone pieces, is beyond. And to think that these folks were doing this in 95, I'm sure they had like a level of computer access.
It's still post. I always look at the world post Jurassic Park.
Right.
You know, there's like the world before that and the world after that. So like, yeah, there's computer generated stuff, but I mean, there's so much detail in this. Those people are still fucking drawing that shit frame by frame.
They're doing it today. They're
Yeah.
still drawing it today. Which lends to certain things for me, like when they would show what's obviously a group of people watching a screen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking? There's a scene where they're all inside the office, but it starts and they're watching this little monitor and they're showing you what's on the monitor. In that, it's got all those little lines
Yeah.
that you always see on TV, you know, when you're looking at a screen inside
Especially
of
when
a
you
screen.
like film an old TV. You know, if you put a camera up to an old TV and you'd see all these like weird pixely lines and stuff like that. And then
All-
also how it's animating. I mean, like you're watching that little and there's a whole other little like short movie going on that monitor while there's other things going on around the actual scene.
It is bananas, bro. Like it's bananas. The level of detail and work that goes into this.
The little detail that like blew my mind the most is like when she's fighting the dude in the water, like that weird reservoir area, and she's like invisible. And then it's like, so you see the ripple where she's standing and she's invisible, but then you can still see her shadow that's in the and you see the ripples go through her shadow. It's so sick. That's like such a small, incredible detail that's amazing. Probably took weeks of work to do.
Well, it's like when we were talking about Wicked City and the level of detail to where you would see like that, what was it, the murder and the reflection in the glasses.
Yeah.
Like it's this minor, and it's not that it's minor. That's what sends out the whole scene. Because if you look at the rest of that, there's not a lot of movement anywhere else except for that ripple of water. That fight too, where she's invisible and you only see her in a couple of instances, and I think that's just for like placement or whatever, just so people know where those blows are coming from. Yeah, to get your viewer more oriented. When she knocks him down, picks up his leg, and then breaks his leg right there, and you just see the leg twist, I was like, what the fuck? That was amazing. Amazing.
Like twist his whole arm around.
Who's the guy that they explode? Like
in the beginning?
Yeah, his whole
it's funny. He's like, I got this diplomatic immunity. You guys can't do nothing for me. Blah blah blah. And then boom, like immediately his head explodes. And the detail in that, I mean, you're like, if you would like, I mean, I didn't do it, but if you would pause that shit frame by frame, I mean, you would see there's literally guts, spinal cord, head, like it's like every little detail is coming out of that head.
the spinal cord is the thing that I really clocked in that moment. I was like, what the fuck? This, and then it's like, so this movie's full of like really just very bizarre, like very bizarre moments and choices, and the conversation that it has with itself is very interesting. So when the secondary AI gets out and is loose and then gets hit by the truck, so that's the idea, is like this weapon, this untold thing has gotten loose, gets hit by a truck, everybody's trying to track it down. Our team of, I guess, good guys, depending on how you choose to look at it.
They are cops, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're cops, but I mean, what have the last like 7 years taught you about cops?
Yeah, exactly.
So, just imagine in 5 more what it'll look like, you know?
If we get fucking AI cops, dude,
it's over with. I'm leaving. I'm leaving everywhere. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm leaving everywhere. So, anyway, they get a hold of it. And then, and this is where I get a little, like it gets a little confusing for me, but then at the same time, like I sort of understand what's happening. Now, it's, I believe, after she wrecks the giant machine that's like coming to get the body, right? Like she tears herself asunder, which is, again, beautiful imagery, right?
when she's like pulling, when she all the muscles in her back, like
oh my god, when she starts getting just like stacked, you're like, holy shit. Like I sat there and was like, this is hot.
I mean, you see like her boobs jiggle for a minute, and then her muscles like all tense.
but like as she's ripping and pulling, and you start to see like the outer layer of skin go first, and then the deeper layer of skin, and then whatever muscle is around those robot arms, and then the robot arms rip off, and fucking there she is. But it's when she's talking to the voice that takes over in her,
the puppet master.
Yeah, and then she's talking to the other one. What the hell? Like, the conversation is deep enough, and that's cool. But that's where I'm like, that's where I think I lose a key moment for me. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I mean, the dialogue gets really deep in this. Like, I was watching a bit about this. I was talking about the reason why, like, basically why she's naked a lot, too, is because she doesn't look at herself as this, like, sexual, physical being.
Right.
You know, like, she's, in her mind, even though she feels like she has a soul, which is, you know, the ghost in the shell thing, right? Her ghost, her soul.
The body is the shell.
Yeah, but so her body doesn't mean it's just a thing.
It doesn't, I mean? It hardly exists to her. It hardly exists to her. It's literally just the thing that moves her around.
Yeah, and then if you look at the other dude that she's with, the guy with the, I don't remember his name, but he had like the weird eyes. They're kind of like sunglasses, but they're like in his eyeball. Like her partner.
Yeah. Like
that dude is like always like way more conscious. Like even like looks away from her when she's getting naked and stuff like that. And
so that's another thing that I clocked too. It's like he's clearly more human in this process, even though she asked him how much of you is actually left. Like, how is she asking? You know?
And I think that's the biggest question they talk about is like, I think they are the same, but it becomes down to the consciousness that reflects of how human they think they are. Like he thinks he's more human than he is, and she doesn't, but they have the same brain, essentially. It's just what their consciousness is thinking.
Which, so creepy.
Yeah. And it's a scary reality that could probably happen pretty soon.
And it's like when they're fucking asking the guy before, like, the one that says, I'll talk, or no, the one that says, I won't talk, I won't tell you nothing. And then they start like really getting into him with the questions.
Yeah.
Like, who was your mother? Do you have one happy childhood memory? Do you remember who you are? you know?
Yeah.
It's that level of personal questioning that goes into this. It's like,
Yeah,
and
the
I mean,
beginning with the garbage man, right? He's like looking at the photo of him, and it's like, oh, all these memories were just implanted into me, and I don't know any of these things.
I don't know any of it. I don't know. I have no idea. Here's the photo you showed your friend. And then it's like, I swear she was in there. Beautiful, angelic smile. Like, what? What? So, and I guess that's the thing when you look at this is it's like, it's, and I haven't looked at it, but when you look at, I guess, sort of Japanese culture, they always feel like 2 steps ahead because in 95, we weren't producing anything like this over here.
I mean, Terminator had come out, but it wasn't as heady.
Terminator came out, but it's not it's like the question that ask is like, do you want robots?
Yeah.
And I'm also talking from like an animation standpoint.
Yeah. Definitely not an animation standpoint. I mean, I said also Blade Runner has very similar themes in it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is you constantly advance towards anything technological. These have to be the questions because the more a thing thinks for you, the fact that most manufacturing is now robotic, that you can program the robot to do it.
I mean, I've seen stuff that I'm not sure if it was Elon Musk or whatever other company, but they were pushing like robot helpers to help you around your house that will just instinctively do things for you.
Oh my God. I want the jack off robot. Like,
and you don't have to even ask for it to jerk you off. You just sitting there and be like, Ben, you want
it'll be like, oh, you've been awake for 2 hours. Now it's time. Like this is when I've noticed you usually masturbating. This is when we will now jerk you off. Yeah. It like clocks your schedule. And then the one day, like you got somebody coming over to the house and you can't hit your normal routine, the robot comes up to you, starts to undo your pants while your buddy's over or whatever, and it's like, not now, robot, not now.
And it just malfunctions because now it's confused.
Would you like to reschedule your masturbation, sir? like that's terrifying, but at the same time, like that's the robots I want.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, and like for reals, like the idea of having a robot like the Jetsons would be sick. But then it's like how much to a certain point, which is what this movie is actually is like. We give it so much consciousness and thought. That's like, yeah, when does it become a thing that exists to a point where when do we have to make laws for that kind of thing? You know, when does it become torture? Because now they're thinking of a thing that you know what I mean? It's like,
when does it become slavery?
Yeah.
When does it become slavery?
It's like, how much are we going to keep putting into these machines to do this kind of stuff? And to the point where, yeah, they would just become people now at a certain point. You know what I mean? We'll have like a nation of androids.
Dude, if we had like Android Nation rise up and then there's like the Android contingency in Congress and androids anywhere else, I'm leaving. Again, James, I am leaving.
And that's the shit that scares the shit out of me about AI. It's not like, yeah, it sucks that AI steals people art and that kind of shit. I don't like that either. But the shit that really scares me is that we have all these tools right now. And think about it, like we have these tools at a consumer level. So what the fuck do these other people have that are, you know, high, like Elon Musk or the government? Like what AI tools are they fucking implementing and using? And where is that going to keep going? And that's the shit that's scary. And then, yeah, we get fucking Android Nation.
So what leaks out to the public is always like 5 to 10 years behind what the military has access to, what the government has access to. It's always dribs and drabs, right? So I promise you, there are already like warehouses full of GI robots, literal GI robots, dude. I promise you.
I totally believe it. I bet they're already sending, like, I mean, they already have the drones, automated drones they're sending out.
It's deeply, like it's concerning. It's all very, very concerning because we are just like a breath away,
Yeah.
And honestly, if the next 4 years goes any fucked up direction, I promise you we will be seeing weird robots in our streets.
Oh
I
man.
I guarantee you. Like I'd almost be willing to bet on it. Like you're
And yeah, it's
gonna
just like, part of me loves it. Like if you lived in a world like the Jetsons, that's fucking sick. But also like that's such a fantasy, and like the reality of it is way more damaging and could be way horrible, and way more worse. And yeah, that's like returning these robots into basically living slaves at a certain point. And then it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's the shit that scares me. And then it's like when do the robots decide to fight back and then destroy a nation just by putting in one computer virus.
Yeah. It's but that's the other
Like we get AI robots making laws, even like they put a robot in Congress. You know what I mean?
dude, do you not think there's already like Congress GPT? Do you not think that that's not like a thing? Like I swear to God, if they're writing screenplays, if they're literally making AI movies for like Netflix and shit, like yeah, there's a Congress bot, and that Congress bot is probably writing all of the laws and has been for 5 years.
Yeah, a friend of mine who's trying to be going to be a lawyer, that was talking about how some lawyer tried to use AI as like a reference in like a case, and it was citing cases that never existed before.
Oh my God. Like and that's the other thing. Like everything is so wild westy. You don't know how and to figure out the I guess sort of the morality and what is like the legality of, because if it hasn't been seen, it hasn't been tested, it's going to take time to figure out what are the legal ramifications, who is responsible if AI goes unchecked.
Yeah.
And like every big company will tell you, well, it's not our fault if people misuse it, right? It's not our fault how the public, whatever. But if they don't put certain safety measures in place, then ultimately it is their
They don't
fault.
give a shit. They're just gonna make all the money they're gonna make off of it, destroy the world, and fly off and fuck off to space somewhere.
Fuck off to space.
Yeah, but that's the shit I think about a lot. Because like, yeah, I mean, yeah, the idea of AI generated images and movies and music is all terrible, but that's all like child's play compared to like, I think the even bigger things we should be more worried about with AI.
And the bigger things that we need to worry about, like, so what was it, like 3 or 4 years ago, deep fakes were like way in the news or whatever. That's still a thing to be terrified of.
It's only gotten better.
It will only get better.
They put out this, I mean, nobody really saw it in theaters when it came out, but Robert Zemeckis put out a new movie this year with Tom Hanks called Here. And the entire movie is shot in one angle. And it's meant to be like a growth of like through time, where it's like you see like there's like Native Americans, and then like a house gets built up there. And then Tom Hanks moves in when he's like young. And then you see him through his whole life, basically, through this one angle in this like spot. But what they did was they used deep fake and AI to like make him look younger, and so he can age progressively through it, even to the point where he reached his normal age, and then they had to make him look older, like the end of time. Right. And it's like, but it looks incredible, like because a lot of it has sucked for a while, and like I look at these behind the scenes, it's intense, and it looks so good, and it's scary how good it's looking.
I don't like any of it. I fucking hate it. I hate it all. And okay, so from a creative aspect, it does drive people to want to do better practically, because they may not want their work flavored by CG. They don't want to be out of a job. They don't want to whatever. the human hand, the human eye, all of that fun stuff, right? So you don't want to put out the world's greatest old age makeup artist because,
Yeah.
somebody can do it better in a computer.
I mean, that's what happened with Phil Tippett.
Exactly. Exactly. But like I don't know, man. It's I have a big problem with art and artistry in an AI world
Yeah.
because if you're just pumping in prompts,
Yeah, it's dumb. Look
yeah.
at those shitty movie posters we were just looking at,
Oh my
earlier
god.
today, and
Oh my god, James. There's so many shitty AI movie
I hate
posters.
it. It's awful. And like for me, like I said, I always love technology. I'm an editor. There's actually this editor I watched was talking about it, and he was like, AI stealing art is bad. Saving me time is great. And I think when it's like comes down to like little things of like, oh, I can use AI to just kind of roto you out, Ben, and I can just get rid of the background and save me 8 hours of my life to like do a thing. That's where it's like that's the shit I love about technology and what we can do. Because then it's just helping me. It's not replacing me as an editor.
Right. Right. And like there's the other thing is it's like for an editor, could you imagine like a world where you just upload all of the footage shot, you hit like 4 keystrokes, and then like 6 hours later the computer pumps you out what it thinks the prime assembly cut would be of your
Yeah.
film? Like, could you imagine that world? And then it's like where somehow it's
exists.
filtered out the best takes, the best this, the best that. You know what I mean? Yeah, it does exist. We're living inside of it. That's the world we're in. We're getting ready to create that world inside the world.
To give out some of our company secrets here. I mean, you seen the new videos, the new ads that our promos that we're putting out, our clip outs?
Yes.
Yeah, so I used this software called Opus Clips, whatever, and it just like watches the whole episode and gives me like literally 30 clips immediately.
No shit.
And it's amazing. It saves me 1,000 fucking hours. I don't have to like now. I wish I had this literally 2 years ago when we started. I don't have to like listen through and remember important things. That just gives me the clips, and then I can just fucking take it out and like.
And this will be the clip that it takes out because it is an advertisement for itself. Yeah, entirely.
But then again, I said I'm still editing. I'm still doing work on it. I'm just like I hate the idea of a plug and play laziness bullshit. That's why I hate chat. I will never use ChatGPT to write anything.
Yeah, no. No. Other than to point out how stupid it is, right?
Yeah.
like how you can do that and call that your thing is mind numbing to me.
Did you see the Coca-Cola commercial they put out during the holidays?
No.
Full AI Coca-Cola commercial?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, they put out 2. The second one made by 2 different companies. The second one's not as bad, but it's still very much like it does this thing with AI video where it's like the camera always moves the same way, but then like the people and like the things in it don't move, and they move in a very like turn basis of like there's no direction basically. They have like when you watch a person acting, they move in a certain way and they're going to do a thing that's just like what people do. When you see like an AI video, there's no direction there, so they just like turn their head a certain one direction, and the camera will like push in the way the AI does it. Like it's just none of it's natural. It's just like existing. It just gives you this nice existing image without any real thought or direction behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. I get it.
Yeah, so AI is fucking scary.
No, AI is garbage. AI is absolutely garbage. Unless of course it is naked lady assassin AI.
Well, that's why I say like I don't personally think AI is garbage. I just think it's like the way people are going to use it is going to be garbage.
is
And
going
that's
to
how I
be
feel
bad.
about CG also in general when it comes to VFX. It's like there's times Caribbean or even Jurassic Park, but I'm like, the only reason why it sucks more today is because it's even better than it's been, and now people are getting even lazier, and it's gotten to more automated of a thing, and it's directionless. That's what it comes down to.
So, but everything like that, every bit of growth for anything like that, um, has to go through those sort of growing pains,
Yeah.
right? So it gets good, it plateaus, it takes a dip, and then it'll spike again. That's the nature
Yeah.
of like growth in anything. It's gonna ebb and flow. So like again, in 5 years, I give it I give it 5 years, dude, and then we're literally living this life, and it'll be indistinguishable. People will go back and they'll watch Ghost of the Shell, and they'll be like, "How did they pre-make this documentary about the world we live in?"
I know, dude.
This and Idiocracy.
Yeah,
This and Idiocracy are two of the closest things that we have to our
I
actual
know.
real lives.
And that makes it even shittier future where we're gonna be like idiocracy dumbasses. They're gonna have computer like watching us, controlling our lives, while these other higher corporate government people are just gonna be literally on their ivory towers looking down at us.
Yes. Yes. Fuck it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
And I don't like again, I'm very bad with like animators' names, particularly ones that are foreign to me. Um but these guys did an exceptional job. And I understand like why for 1,000 years people have been like screaming about Ghost in the Shell. I've never seen the live action movie.
Neither have I. I mean, I remember when it came out, and I just like,
It was a huge problem with
yeah,
whitewashing. I
yeah,
remember
stop
everybody.
whitewashing, and it also just didn't look that good. Like the way the animated movie looks, and there's so much detail and thought into all of it. And if you look at clips or even like an image from the Scarlett Johansson movie, it just looks like a bland, like Hollywood movie. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the detail or like the nuance that makes it cool. It just feels like a copy to like just bland CG backgrounds.
Yeah, and that's no fun for anybody.
No,
Uh
not really that naked in it.
no. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's what I know. That's what I know. That's the one thing that I do know. She's not really that naked in it. But like it is one of those deals where like this has to be, and I think we've talked about it before with like other works, but to take something as highly stylized as this and then to try and do it, it wasn't Akira. What's the other one? Oh no, it was Akira, but the other Akira.
The other Akira?
What's Oh no,
Only one
Aeon
Akira.
Flux. Aeon Flux.
Right. They did the
Yeah.
same bullshit, dude. They whitewashed it, took out all the nuance and all the cool like aesthetic of it, and just made it this Hollywood kind of garbage.
Because you can't replicate that level of style. You like it would take a bazillion years. So sets would be it would be like a 10-year movie project to be able to build all that
Yeah.
and to be able to make it work the way it needs to work to get the shots you need. Like that's a heavily orchestrated like that's massive. It's
Right.
massive. And I do think it's an impossibility to bring a lot of these things to light, like practically, and to do it in a way that's compelling to watch and that could easily match the original. It's crazy.
Yeah, and sometimes these things need to just live in fucking animated world, you know?
They
But
should just exist.
there's a reason
there.
why it was animated in the first place. Because
Right. Not everything needs to be fucking made into a live action thing just to grab money. Like
Yeah.
just to grab money.
yeah, let's
So-
just put Scarlett Johansson in it because she's fucking famous. She was in an Avenger. then we'll just put out this movie and people will pay to see it.
And we'll get her close enough to naked that people will fucking like they'll lose their shit over it. That's what it is. Because she hadn't done anything like that to that point.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the sell. That's the big sell, which is also again ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know. I love.
I just sent you just stood up. But I just sent a photo into this chat here. It's like it's a pretty simple shot, but look at the complete difference in nuance of what the Hollywood is saying in their shot compared to like the way the 80s movie does it, the 90s movie. And it's a simple shot, she's just standing by the window, but then there's like so much more story happening in this animated thing where they're like, we can't show all this stuff, so we're gonna make her silhouette, and then there's like the bright in the city, and then you see the remake, the white person one. It just looks like any other sci-fi movie ever.
Okay, and therein lay the problem. There's two big problems here, right? And I'll tell you, just at least from the way I see it, the biggest problem is the light source in the city behind her.
Yeah.
The city
like being like fucking backlit by the city.
Exactly. Where they've got her lit from under here. This should be just a silhouette of her against sun. Like there should be no light. All the lighting should motivate from the window.
And
but
about all this detail in this room, you know what I mean? Like why there's no need for any of that.
And the whole thing there is I think that room might be set. That room might be set, and the window behind her is green screen. Yeah. And what they're having the issue is motivating the light from the screen.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So they went from under so they could see more of ScarJo.
And that's the thing too, man. You do these Hollywood movies and these actors got to be like, well, you got to show me. And also, they're spending like millions of dollars on Scarlett Jo. So they have to show her face. So then it's like, why are we spending all this money?
Yeah, why did we pay this woman millions if we're going to avoid her? You know what I mean?
You look at the shot from the animated movie, and it's like it tells something of like she feels like she's like alone. She feels like she's disconnected from like the rest of the city, but then she's also kind of like guarding it in that way.
Yeah.
And then I look at this Scarlett Jo one, and it's just like, well, she's just asleep and she stood up.
Right. In the other one, it's like the world is out there.
Yeah.
Whatever's in this room doesn't need to exist. The world is outside. And you don't get that from here. From this, you get like, oh, she's going into the room and there's nothing outside. There's
and
a
I
vast.
think it comes down to also with like shooting a movie compared to animation, where it's like, oh yeah, they built the set so they can film it and look at it. With animation, it was like, okay, well, we've been drawing these other frames for fucking hours. We don't have enough time or energy to draw her whole room. So then it becomes, well, how can we tell the story, even minimalizing it? And then it gets even better.
It gets so much better. Just give the elements that you need. And like we've had this discussion when we've talked about things like Hitmonkey, when we've talked about Akira, Aeon Flux does it. Like when we've talked about all these other sort of things, that's, I think, the beauty of like a traditional anime style is the simple fact that it's minimal motion. Like you can have a grand fight scene and see like maybe 4 swings of a sword.
Yeah.
The story's told in those like freeze frames where they're like holding the sword, but then they switch position. Like in those minimal movements, like the story's told. You don't have to do a lot as long as you have like even just streaks in the background. Done.
Yeah. And then, but when you try to do that live action, suddenly they're like, oh, we now have to show all of it. And then it's like boring.
Now it's a 20-minute sword fight that doesn't need to be a 20-minute sword fight. It needed to be 4 lines and look interesting. And now it's neither. Now it's neither. And it might be a really compelling fucking fight, but I don't know, man. I get fucking so frustrated with shit. Like, And that's the other problem with remakes is when you look at the original, like, doesn't that make you want to come up with your own shit and not just redo somebody else's shit? Or am I looking at like creativity different?
No, I get what you're saying, because it's like we're gonna keep remaking stuff like this, and you're taking
What's-
all the what makes that artistry so good.
And diluting it every single time. And they match. I can't think of an instance where I really think a remake surpasses an original.
I mean, I think there's like some horror movie. I mean, surpasses, I don't know, but I do like. I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead remake.
Right, but it's also a different movie.
Yeah, it's its own story.
It's not really
yeah.
a remake per se.
Exactly.
And that's why it's good. It's just a compendium to the fucking Evil Dead franchise. It's not like an Ash Williams story. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's in that instance, I hard agree. I actually like what they did with the Friday the 13th remake, where they comboed 1 and 2.
I think that movie gets a little more hate than it deserves. It's pretty on the point of what Friday is. It's gory.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely
The one dude
right.
has that line where he's like, "Your tits are stupendous."
Your tits are stupendous. Great lines, great everything. Yeah.
But then you look at the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and it's like all the stuff that made that first movie amazing was suddenly just like diluted to this like, just like kind of dirty little looking Hollywood movie.
Entirely. Even down like even the makeup feels so wrong. Like just weird and wrong. But
remakes, I mean, Toxie's coming out finally.
Well, that one I think they actually got right. If you're gonna do it, retell the story, make him a little person, change shit, and they have changed shit.
That's what I said, but you know, some people didn't agree with me.
Well, whatever. I can't wait. Now we can finally talk about it.
Yeah.
5 years after you've seen it.
I know. I was still 29 when I saw it.
That's fucking wild, James. That's wild. Now you're a crusty old fuck in his 30s. Like, it's the whole thing. But this is beautiful to look at. Again, they play with shadow and light in a way that is very reminiscent of like noir styled sort of mysteries. It does carry a mystery element to it. The action in it,
it is awesome.
I
say it's not that action heavy, but what it's going, dude. Even like car chases they're doing is like insane.
It goes so hard. It goes so hard when it goes, and it goes good.
And like really blows my mind about these car stuff is that like today, even in anime, like most, like I would say like 95% of animated stuff that comes out when it comes to like spaceships, cars, and buildings are usually done now in 3D because they're like normal shapes, and it's way easier to then 3D that and make it look more like 2D than it's gonna be to physically draw those like different angles of those like things that are like moving the way they're supposed to. So, but I see car chases like this in this movie that are like skidding and like speeding and smashing into each other. Like, fuck, dude, that must have taken those dudes like literally months. Yeah,
forever. I just did one quick Google check. So apparently, and this is a theme, and we'll have to watch more of these here on Completely Cartoony. But it's when the two trashmen are out, they run into a guy who's outside who sounds shockingly like Don Knotts, who used to play Barney Fife on the Andy Griffith Show.
The guy with the garbage bag, it was like...
That's all like, oh, shit, I missed him again.
Yeah.
That guy. So I had to do a search because I was like, it sounds too much like Don Knotts not to be Don Knotts. Turns out, definitely not Don Knotts. But there is an actor who used to get paid to do Don Knotts' voice and voiceover stuff, who usually has 1 to 2 lines in a lot of animes. It is completely cartoony. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome once again, everyone, to another episode of your favorite cartoon anime podcast. This is completely cartoony. I am joined today by a host of yet another cartoon podcast, subpar, maybe your 4th or 5th favorite cartoon podcast. Totally tunular, James Boylan today. We're going to try and get him some listeners.
We're 200 episodes deep.
Well, we're pushing a good 3 over here. So, you know, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah, what's up? I mean, by the time you listen to this, we're like a couple of days out from Steeler Fest.
You guys, this is all Kyle's mom's fault. Shut up, Cartman. Kyle's mom is the one that started that damn club, and all because she's a big, fat, stupid bitch. Don't say it, Cartman. Well, don't do it, Cartman. Well, I'm warning you. Okay.
Hello, peasants.
Want to kill all humans?
Work there, dude.